It all started on a quiet Tuesday evening. Jake, hands clenched and heart pounding, knocked on his sister Lily's door. He had spent weeks building up the courage for this moment. The secret he carried felt like it weighed a ton, and he was finally ready to let someone in on it. The door opened, and Lily looked up from her bed, where she was scrolling through her phone. Her face softened at the sight of his tense expression. "What's up, Jake?"
"Come on in," she said warmly.
Jake stepped inside, his heart racing even faster as he took in her calm, welcoming demeanor. Her room, with its cozy, mismatched pillows and strings of fairy lights, felt like a refuge from the storm of thoughts swirling in his head. I need to tell you something," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And I'm kind of freaking out about it." Lily set her phone aside immediately, her eyes full of concern. "Hey, no worries. You can tell me anything. I'm here for you, always." Her words eased his nerves a bit, and Jake took a deep breath. "It's about me and the way I feel about clothes." She listened intently, her face open and encouraging. Jake looked down, gathering his thoughts. He had rehearsed this moment countless times in his head, but saying it out loud was a different story. "Sometimes," he began, "I feel happiest when I wear certain things. Dresses, skirts, even makeup. It's hard to explain, but it just feels right." There was a pause, a heartbeat of silence that made him feel exposed, vulnerable. But Lily's expression didn't change. If anything, she looked more interested, like she was already processing his words with an open mind. "Jake," she said softly, a warm smile spreading across her face, "I think that's amazing." "Seriously? Thank you for telling me. You're brave, you know?" A rush of relief swept over him. She wasn't laughing, judging, or trying to talk him out of it. Instead, she looked genuinely thrilled. He felt a small smile tugging at his lips. "So, you don't think it's weird?" "Not at all. In fact," she said, leaning forward with a mischievous twinkle in her eye, "I have an idea." Jake tilted his head, intrigued. "An idea? What if we make this into something fun? Like a dress-up duo?" She gestured with her hands as she talked, painting the picture. "Think about it. We could try on different styles together. I can help with makeup, and we could make it our little project." Jake's eyes widened. The idea was so wild, yet thrilling. "You mean like do this together? No judging, no holding back." She nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly. We'll be partners in crime. I've been wanting to experiment with looks too, but it's more fun with someone else. We could even keep a little photo diary." A grin broke across his face, a feeling of warmth spreading through his chest. "That sounds amazing. I wouldn't feel so alone in it." Lily's excitement was infectious. "No one feels alone in the dress-up duo," she said with a flourish, pretending to cast an invisible wand over him. The next few weeks turned into a blur of laughter, creativity, and exploration. Every evening, they'd sift through Lily's wardrobe, or sneak a few pieces from their mom's closet when she wasn't looking. Jake quickly learned about the magic of makeup, how a little eyeliner could bring out his eyes, or how a dab of lipstick could transform his whole look. One evening, Lily handed him a long, flowy skirt with a floral pattern, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Try this one, Jake. I think it'll look perfect on you." He slipped it on, feeling the fabric swirl around his legs as he twirled in front of the mirror. The feeling was unlike anything he'd ever experienced, liberating and authentic. "Jake, you look amazing," Lily exclaimed, snapping a few photos on her phone. "You've got to see this." They spent hours trying on different outfits, laughing over mismatched styles, and snapping pictures for their dress-up duo album. But the more they explored, the more Jake felt a sense of peace he'd never known before. For the first time, he wasn't hiding who he was. He was embracing it, with the best partner he could ask for by his side. But one Saturday, as they sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by clothes, Lily glanced at him thoughtfully. "Jake," she started slowly, "I think there might be someone else who'd benefit from what we're doing." Jake looked at her, curious. "What do you mean?" "You know Mark from your class, right?" "Yeah," he replied, picturing the quiet, slightly nerdy guy who usually kept to himself. Well, I saw him at that vintage shop the other day, the one where I get all my retro stuff. And guess what? He was buying a pink skirt. Jake's eyes widened. Really? Mark? Lily nodded.
Yeah.
He looked super nervous, like he was afraid someone would see him. But when he realized I wasn't judging him, he seemed so relieved. Jake thought about it, feeling a pang of empathy. You think he's like me? Honestly, I do. And I bet he's scared to talk about it, too. A spark of an idea formed in Jake's mind. Do you think maybe he'd like to join us? You know, be part of the dress-up duo? Lily's face lit up. That's exactly what I was thinking. The next week, Jake seized his chance. After class, he caught up with Mark as they filed out of the room, trying to ignore the nervous fluttering in his stomach. Hey, Mark, he said casually, falling into step beside him. Got a minute? Mark looked at him, surprised but polite.
Yeah.
What's up? I wanted to ask if you'd like to hang out sometime. Just us. I think we might have some things in common. Mark's eyebrows raised. Oh, yeah, like clothes, Jake said quietly, glancing around to make sure no one else was listening. Dresses, skirts, that kind of thing. A look of realization dawned on Mark's face. He seemed to study Jake for a moment, the corners of his mouth lifting into a cautious smile. Wait, really? Really, Jake said, grinning. My sister and I, we do this thing. We call ourselves the dress-up duo, and we'd love for you to join us. A spark of hope flickered in Mark's eyes. I'd like that. I've never told anyone about this. Jake felt a surge of warmth, knowing exactly how that felt. I get it. It's scary, but it feels good to have someone who understands. They shook hands, and the pact was sealed. The following Saturday, Mark arrived at Jake and Lily's house, a bundle of nerves but eager. He carried a backpack stuffed with a few items he'd nervously picked out. Jake and Lily welcomed him warmly, guiding him into Lily's room, which had been transformed into a makeshift dressing studio. Welcome to the dress-up duo headquarters, Lily declared, striking a dramatic pose. You ready for this? Mark chuckled, his nervousness melting away. Ready as I'll ever be. They helped him lay out his clothes, and soon he was dressed in a soft, flowy skirt and a blouse that made him smile in the mirror. His usually stiff, cautious posture relaxed, and his laughter came more easily as they swapped outfits, shared styling tips, and encouraged each other. As they laughed and talked, Mark opened up about his own fears. He shared how he'd always felt drawn to feminine clothes, but never dared to wear them outside his room. Jake listened intently, nodding in understanding. I felt the same way for so long. I kept it all hidden until I told Lily. Mark looked at him with a grateful smile. It means a lot to be here with you guys. I never thought I'd find people who understood. Lily grinned, leaning over to ruffle his hair. Well, now you've got us. Dress-up duo for life. They spent the rest of the evening chatting, trying on accessories, and discussing the different ways they could express themselves. By the end of the night, they had bonded in a way that went beyond clothes. They had shared a part of themselves, and that connection made them stronger. One evening, as they sat cross-legged on Lily's floor, their discussion took a daring turn. You know, Lily said thoughtfully, there's that costume contest coming up at the community center. We should totally go. Jake and Mark exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and anxiety flashing across their faces. Think about it, she continued. It's Halloween. People will expect costumes, so it's the perfect chance to go out dressed however you want. And no one will bat an eye. The idea was both exhilarating and terrifying. For Jake, the thought of being out in public dressed as his true self, even under the guise of a costume, felt like a huge leap. But as he looked at Mark, he saw the same spark of excitement. What do you think, Mark? Jake asked, half hoping his friend would say yes. Mark hesitated, then slowly nodded, a grin spreading across his face. Let's do it. I've always wanted to go out like this, even just once. And with that, the plan was set. As Halloween approached, they spent hours crafting the perfect outfits. Jake chose an elegant vintage dress with lace and beaded details, while Mark found a flowy, ethereal gown in soft pastel hues. Lily helped with makeup, adding just the right touches of eyeliner, lipstick, and blush to complete their looks. By the time the night of the contest arrived, they looked both stylish and true to themselves. They gathered in front of the mirror, admiring their reflections with a mixture of pride and disbelief. They were ready. It was time to take their bravery outside the safe confines of Lily's room. Stepping into the crowd was nerve-wracking, but the festive atmosphere of the event was a welcome distraction. Surrounded by people dressed as pirates, superheroes, and fairies, they felt normal. Accepted. As they moved through the crowd, a few classmates recognized them, and Jake braced himself for judgment. But to his surprise, the reactions were nothing but supportive. A girl from Jake's math class approached them with a smile. "You guys look amazing. It's so cool to see you being yourselves." Their hearts swelled with pride, a shared sense of relief. By the end of the night, they stood together, beaming with gratitude for the small but significant journey they had shared. In the weeks that followed, word of the dress-up duo spread quietly through school. They became a safe haven for classmates who were also exploring their identities or simply wanted to express themselves without judgment. Their weekly gatherings grew, transforming into a community of acceptance, self-expression, and friendship. For Jake, the journey had transformed him. He had found not only acceptance but a purpose, one that he could share with his sister and his friends. And as the dress-up duo continued to grow, touching lives one outfit at a time, Jake knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.